My vision for Rochester over the next 20 years is to expand our working base at all economic levels, to expand the opportunities here. I don't ever want to hear people tell me again they're running up to the cities because there's nothing to do here. I want to make sure that we have tons of things to do.
Where else could you do it? But right here in Rochester, Minnesota.
There's so many good reasons why you would want to move to Minnesota. I know people that live in California, I know people that live in New York, I know people that live down in Texas. And every single time they come up and visit me, they go, whoa, Rochester's so nice. I mean, you drive around and people are friendly. And in my opinion, it's Minnesota nice. And there's nothing better.
It's the fastest growing community in the state of Minnesota, one of the fastest growing in the upper Midwest. They got really good leadership. I like the young, the people that are connected to the community.
We're trying to make Rochester more appealing to everyone.
DMC has been a catalyst for people to think big. And so we've had a lot of conversations. You talk about people moving here, transitions. People have dinner parties, and they all talk about what's wrong with Rochester, what they have to go to Minneapolis to do. And here's really an opportunity to say, we have an opportunity to start creating those things deliberately with all different areas and perspectives around it. So how do we start really building this?
But how we make this a sustainable community, sustainable within the framework of what we've got, and then how we grow in a smart way.
I know a lot of good people. There's a lot of great things to this town. I know that part of DMC is trying to make Rochester into, a better place, which I totally agree needs to happen. But there are some gems in Rochester that are very unique to Rochester that I miss every time I have to leave.
The opportunity to create something that's very hard for medical centers located in big cities, a relationship between the primary business in town and the community and the clients. And sitting down on the mall on Saturday night watching the free movies, or sitting on the mall visiting with people during Thursdays on First, I have met some incredible folks who are here just because of the clinic, and they're from all over the world. And it's neat that we can help them and inspire them, and it's wonderful that we can build our base of business here at the same time.
We are a city of health. We are here to make people better.
But the opportunity, and I believe this with all my heart, has never been greater than it is today to grow and go forward.
They're working together. They're living proof that there's hope for the future, and that by the changes that the DMC is going to bring in and the new people that are going to be coming here and the new jobs that are going to be created, that we can handle it.
But when you talk about what this future is going to be for this community and what we want it to look like, I don't think we're here to say what exactly it has to look like. What we understand is what makes this community what it is whether it's organizations like the Chamber of Commerce or private employers like the Mayo Clinic or the United, on and on you go with great organizations, communities and theater, all the arts, entertainment.
This is not going to ruin Rochester. It's going to change it. It's going to improve it. It's going to be different, but it's going to be better.
This is a very thoughtful community. It always has been. The planners in this community, the organizations in this community that plan, do it better than any communities that we've looked at across this country. So I'm quite confident with the right people around the table at the right time, we'll do a great job of planning for that.
Rochester keeps me here for several reasons. One, my family is here and I'm very close with them. Rochester has several things to offer as far as a younger person. I think that now it's easier to meet new people, and as the initiative with DMC is continuing to flow, the city's flowing. There's more of an uprising for younger people. It creates more of a diversity and vibrancy. I love this city because it's a small town with a big town feel. I've traveled the world, I lived in bigger cities, and there's still something that makes our city, that sets it apart. And there's a quaint feeling, like you know that you're in Rochester. We are always here to help people, and I think it's basically our innate feeling of helping other people. Everyone, I think, has that when you live in this city, whether you know it or not. I think that our culture has changed in the last few years, so people are more open-minded to having more events and big ideas. It's a safe place to have big ideas.
I chose the University of Minnesota Rochester because I really liked a lot of the innovation in the classrooms and the small class sizes. I also liked that it was located right in the heart of downtown Rochester, where I've grown up the last 22 years. I wasn't planning on going here. I was looking at bigger universities, but once I visited here, the glove really fit, and I was really happy I could stay in the town I grew up in.
I started to get into the networks of Rochester right out of high school and just meeting people that are in business and doing things. And it's been great to see some of the individuals that have developed from when I first met them. And the great example I would say is like Ross and Annie Henderson, who own some businesses here locally, own some real estate, very active in the community with some of their nonprofit activities like C4. When I first met them, it was me going to the YMCA, and they're working out there, and they just had ideas about Rochester and the downtown, and now they're doing all those things. And those are just one example of a group of people that I've met. And I started to recognize there's a gap between what's going to become Rochester and what currently is, and seeing that gap has spurred my mind to say, what can I do in order to be a part of it, whether it's business related, nonprofit related, just involved in the community. And I think now there's, from my perception, a lot more involvement and things to do in the last even 4 years from when I originally started getting involved in Rochester.
I'm born and raised in the city. I want to see the people that are here taken care of, but I also want to see the progressive things move forward in a way that works for everyone.
I have lived in this community for 33 years and raised my boys here, and I love it with all my heart, and I've had all the opportunity that I could ever wish for a family in this community, and I sure don't want to see it go down the tubes.
I guess I would like to see slow and steady growth with the city, in that the funds will be used appropriately to foster permanent growth.
I think it's also very important that we keep whatever historic structures that we have around and try our best to reuse them. And I would hope that in conjunction with that, that green space would be utilized as well.
If we have clients moving from all over the country, if not the world, we need them to realize that Rochester isn't just some sleepy little town in Minnesota, that we're a place where they can do great things, experience great things, and see great things.
This is a wonderful place to live. The community here is very giving and very open, very welcoming. It's quite eclectic.
I've really been impressed by how vibrant Rochester has become since I was in high school. It's a lot different, I think, than it was, and I would like to see some of that vibrancy and some of these events happen in the non-summer months, because I feel like a lot of things, Thursdays on First, the venue, a lot of things are really concentrated in the summer, so it'd be nice to see that stuff happen year-round.
I love this city. I've learned to love it. I had to become open-minded. I had to change my perspective, find the right people, be inspired by them, and decide to take action instead of being a part of the problem. I jumped to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, I think what Rochester needs to do is continue to attract diversity.
But I find it more embracing of other cultures than virtually anywhere else I've lived. And to that, we have entertainment, we have an active group trying to make us bigger than we've ever been, and I've fallen in love with Thursdays on First.
I think this is a great time for a young professional to, doesn't matter what necessarily business that they're in, to start working hard in their profession, what they're passionate about. And the reason I say that is because in the next 20 years, as we see this growth, if you start now, if you're 30 years old and below, and even if you're older than that, if you really start honing in on what you're passionate about and where you like to work and what you like to do, I think you will see a lot more individuals sharing that same passion, and you will benefit. And that could be financially, that could be personally, that could be through your family, because there's so many more people coming around the circle, around the table, and they're sharing those same passions.
I'm just really excited for what it's going to bring Rochester in the next 20 years, and just seeing how much Rochester will expand and grow, and all of other people from other communities coming here to get their medical care. I think that'll be really cool to see.
I'm really proud of our legislative leaders to see the vision. It's awesome.
DMC is important to this community. DMC is important to the state of Minnesota. It's most important that we maintain our destination medical status for the community of Rochester and for the state of Minnesota.
For the future of Rochester.
I think, Rochester is going to be the next place. It's going to be the next Minneapolis. It's going to be the next central hub of the United States.
One of the most impressive things has been the enthusiasm of the ambassadors that I'm working with. Virtually everyone's willing to jump in and help, and everyone has ideas, and everyone is committed to moving us forward as a community, and that's pretty exciting.